Hi!
Hey,
Happy New Year, everyone!
Happy New Year,
Wishing you a wonderfully blessed year ahead.
and of course, lots of health.
So, during this Christmas period, like many people, we've been watching a lot of movies, and this is how we got inspired to do our video today. We want to talk about the things that annoy us in movies.
And of course, things that are completely unrealistic if it was real life.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
So my first one would be, you know how women go to bed with makeup and then they wake up with perfectly done makeup still? And the one thing that I think is most realistic from the whole facial makeup is the lipstick or lip gloss would just stay there throughout the night.
No
and it's
smudging.
perfect. Nothing. Like the women went to bed, frozen, got up, perfect makeup.
Ready for the day. Speaking of ready for the day, next one is breakfast. Have you noticed that in movies where it's usually the mom, she's prepared a full spread of breakfast, pancakes, syrup, eggs, tea, the full shebang, and then you'll have the kids who run downstairs or the husband with his briefcase, they'll pick up one slice of toast, take a bite and run out the front door. Sorry mom, gotta go. Simple as that.
It's crazy. It's like that is not how it happens, and this mom is not going to prepare the breakfast tomorrow again.
My mum would be very upset if that happened
Yeah.
in real life.
So how about when two people speak on the phone and they don't say hello or goodbye?
Yeah, that's typical.
That's not realistic. It's like the conversation is unfinished and it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, they never ever say goodbye. Or what about when they plan to meet somewhere? They say, okay, I'll meet you in 2 hours. Meet you where?
Yes.
Why are people in movies always psychic for
Absolute
everything?
psychic. Yeah. Another thing is like when there is another person involved in like detective movies, and we were watching this the other day, and they just guessed who the other person without them saying any hint.
Yeah.
They just say, "Oh, don't tell me it's Josh." I'm like, how? How did you know?
Always psychic. Especially when I'm gonna go off script. When one person is going to find another person, the baddie's going to find the goodie in the movie,
Yeah.
and the goodie moves to somewhere Timbuktu, to use a cliche. Somehow, the baddie would know where they've gone and find them in the middle of a jungle. It's always psychic.
Absolute psychic.
Another one is, why do people never explain themselves in movies? So I'm going to give you a really crude example. Say a husband's on the phone talking to his mum, and the wife walks in, and just as the wife walks in, the husband says, goodbye, and I love you too, puts the phone down. The wife would then kick off the handle, she'd be screaming, saying, who are you saying I love you to? You know what, forget it, get out my house, I don't want you in here anymore. So the husband would have to pick up his bags, pack his bags, leave. Why doesn't he explain to her, okay, I was speaking to my mum, here's her number, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's just not going to be a movie if they do.
There wouldn't be a movie. And then the next scene, they're in court fighting over custody of the children.
Yeah.
Just simply explain what happened, and then everything will be okay.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't happen in movies, in most movies. You know, when we were talking though about being psychic, another thing I thought about is, you know, when somebody coughs, we know now that this person is soon going to be diagnosed as terminally ill or is going to die because they coughed. It's like, hello, you cough for like 1,000 reasons. You have some dust up your nose, you know.
Give it 2 scenes. Someone coughs or sneezes within 2 scenes, they're going to be in hospital.
Yeah.
More or less guaranteed. And speaking of hospital, things that put people in hospital are guns. Why, when people pull guns out of their pockets or out of their belts, how can you put a gun in your belt? Anyway, that's another one. People put guns in their belts and they don't seem to fall down. Anyway, why is it when people pull guns out of their belts or their pockets or whatever, why do the guns always sound like someone just dropped a bag of nails on the floor?
Yeah.
How noisy can...
Like the whole pulling out, the shooting, everything has a sound related to it.
Everything has a sound. It's like, why?
I think it's unnecessary and it's unrealistic. Like, I'm not a professional shooter, but I just think it's unrealistic. It's like, I'm not a professional shooter, that reminds me. But have you noticed how a professional shooter in a movie would not aim properly to the, for example, the good guy, and you see them emptying their guns and loads of bullets, you can hear them, you can see all the bullets flying, and they're always missed. It's like, you know.
we've been paintballing, and I suppose you can't compare a professional to a paintballer, but do you know how hard it is to dodge a paintball that's travelling at hundreds of times slower than a bullet? I mean, we got shot up, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's painful, and we were playing with friends who are not professional shooters or paintballers, and it was still very easy for us to
to be shot.
Yeah.
Also, ventilation shafts. How come when people in movies try to find somewhere to hide and they've found a ventilation shaft, first of all, it's always big enough for them to fit into.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not saying that they don't exist, but why is the ventilation shaft inside? Why is it always spick and span, clean, shining silver? If it's a ventilation shaft, it will be full of dust.
Yeah, even
rubbish.
before you enter and you open that hatch part, it's already dirty. But in movies, they're like, somebody's
Cleanest
clean
thing
them
ever.
just because they know the good guy has to go up the ventilation shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking about dusty and stuff like this, have you noticed how Mexico and places like this are? Well, Mexico, for example, is always portrayed as yellow and sticky and hot, and you don't even I feel like they don't have to say it's Mexico. It's enough to put that filter on, and you know where the thing is taking place.
Also, Eastern Europe. Whenever they depict Eastern Europe, I think I've mentioned this before. Eastern Europe in movies, it's always like a grey, drizzly, sort of depressing look.
We're in Eastern Europe.
And I know that Bulgaria in Eastern Europe is one of the most hottest places you can go to, and it doesn't look grey and drizzly. Not all the time, anyway.
I mean, these are just some things that baffle us, but we still watch movies. It's just funny because the more you watch, the more you think to yourself, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
So what about you guys? Do you have things that you've seen in movies that we haven't seen that just don't make sense, or in real life would make no sense at all?
Let us know in the comments below.